Canler, and today I want to inform y'all about trapping. To become a better trapper, you're going to need a few things. More than a few things. But first, you're going to need your trapping permit, permission from your parents and the landowner that you're trapping on, and the equipment. And today we have a pretty good assortment of equipment right here for all trappers. I'd like to, first trap I want to talk about right here is your cage trap. And right here we have a prime example of a cage trap. There's nothing hurting this animal. Most people start out trapping with a cage trap, or they trap to harm of nuisances. Nuisances like coons, skunks, possums, you know, they eat your grain, and that's how it ties into agriculture. Just like your coyotes, it kills your calves. That's part of putting a dent in your agriculture. And I'm going to show you how this trap works. And I think I'm going to let this poor cat go. It's in the worst of his days. I mean, you know, Mr. Casey Embry caught her in a conifer trap one day. But we're going to let this cat go, and I'm going to show you how this works. It's also going to give you a broad example of how to safely release an animal into the wild. Alright. Now your humane cage trap you can buy at Tractor Supply works like this. You have a little prong, set your cage. Most of these nowadays have safety locks. I don't use them because sometimes you forget that they're on and you'll leave it on and catch something and it'll get out. Don't get caught. Animal walks in here. This is called your trap pan. You usually put your bait in the back, and the animal walks in. They step on that, they're caught. Now, for big animals, coons are smart. If they're in a cage, they're going to roll. So sometimes you might want to jab a stick on both sides of your cage so they can't roll. I mean, this one's pretty heavy. Coons can't get to roll this, but some of them boar coons will do it. Starting over here, we have your foothold section. This is your long spring trap. This size is particular for small game. To safely set one of these, you have your clamps. You can use your knee, like I'm about to do. And you have your set. Now this chain here is for your stake down. You stake this so once the animal's caught in it, they can't get away. The foot trap is one of the first traps introduced into classic trapping. Foot trap works like this. Here you have in your head your animal's leg, and it's walking along, smells your bait or however you have you set, and steps on that pedal. Therefore it closes on the animal's leg. And some of you people might believe in PETA and believe in animal rights. This particularly doesn't hurt the animal. For a few seconds it may, but then it cuts your circulation off and they don't feel it anymore. It just makes them mad. It's your double long spring. You have your single long spring, which you use for rabbits, muskrats, even some little coons you can use for skunks, possums. Your springs is all about your power. We know how to set that. Here you have your coil springs. This is a number 3. You can use them for beavers, coyotes, and just about anything. They have a little bit more power. They're classified as modern traps, so they have a little more power because these springs, you know, they didn't have springs back then. Little big guy, I'm going to show you how to set a little one for safety. You can do it the same way. And there's your set for a coil spring. You know, it does the same thing. You doing what I want to do, you mess around practicing, you can flip this top jaw up, take your pocket knife, set it off like that. This here is 8-gauge wire. You can use it for just about anything. Yeah, it's a little rusty, but I've left it outside after season. That's what you get, not taking care of your stuff. Every trapper can use a pair of gloves. I don't use them unless it's real cold. But when you're dipping your hands down in ice cold water, trying to make a set, you use these. A little dangerous. Sometimes they really ain't worth having, but sometimes they are. Here you have your conifer section. Conifer traps' main purpose is to take the animal out as soon as possible. Not every situation is applicable for a conifer trap. This here is a 110. Usually you have a pair of setters to set something bigger than this, but for this one I can set it with my hands. You know, squeeze these prongs here. You have your prongs, and then your dog. And this stake right here doesn't come on most, but it does specifically for this one. So it allows you to stick it in the ground. You know, and I'll show you how this one works too. You don't usually want to play around like this, but you want kind of experience. And it clamps on the animal's head. It's been a matter of seconds. You know, pretty much chokes them out. That's how your 110 works. This right here is your 165. It's got double prongs, safety locks. This right here is set already. I use my trap setters, but we all know Mr. Chase Williamson can't keep up with nothing. But to set one of these, you simply, with your safety locks on now, and you clamp this. You have your set. These holes here, I usually put stakes in them. That's how that works. Then, take your safety locks off. The safety locks are some of the most important things. That's the #1 thing to remember when you're using a conifer trap. They're highly dangerous. And once you have one of your limbs stuck in this, you're not getting it out. Me and Casey caught a house cat that you saw recently in a cage. And it took us a minute to get her out, and she bit us both and ran off for a few days. And that shows you how much pain it can cause a finger. Now this hammer here, I use to demonstrate an animal's leg. I take one of these trapping every day with me for if I want to use a stake. You know, you drive your stake with it. And most trappers carry a .22 long rifle or a pistol to take their animals out, but I'm more of an easy killer. So usually I just hold the animal's head and hit it one time, and they're pretty much done. But not all animals are easy to just pick up and hit with a hammer. This size right here is a 220, used for bigger animals. Same concept as the 165. And notice here I have a trap tag on here from last year. You can't read it. Trap tags, mandatory for about every state. You put your name, address, you know, things like that. So if somebody finds your trap, they can get it back to you. Here you have your 330 conifer. In my opinion, this right here is one of the most effective beaver traps. You can catch just about anything in here. You can catch a coyote's head in there. You can catch beaver, bobcat, you name it. Even a freaking cow if you need to. This right here, I've caught a beaver in it. Done a pretty good amount of damage. You just gotta watch what you're doing with these bad boys. They'll take your leg and break you in half. safety issues, I'm not gonna set it. Here's your snare. Snare's like the first trap, the absolute first trap natives used. Simply make a loop for the animal to run its head through. Where they run their head through, it tightens up, and this cable's galvanized, and it's not gonna back up once something's tightened around it, has tension. This sometimes kills the animal, it just depends on the situation. One thing you also need, skinning knife. You can prepare your skins, and a fleshing knife to flesh the fat off of the animal once you've skinned it. For example, here's one of my coon hides I'm working on now. Yeah, pretty rough, wet, and nasty. Thank y'all for watching.